Okay, so let's start na. So for today, our discussion, ano lang, chapter 1 lang. Kasi medyo mahaba pa na din siya, 1 hour na din siya mahigit. So, our topic for today will be the accountancy profession. Ay guys, na-record nyo na ba, Shula? Nag-i-start na mag-record? Hindi kasi nagna-notif sa
Yes,
akin.
yes po.
Okay, thank you. So, for today, our discussion will be the accountancy profession. So, can someone read this slide? May score din, ay meron din grade guys yung pagbabasa. Raise your hand na lang kasi okay, si Jan.
Definition of accounting. Number one, Accounting Standards Council. Accounting is a service activity. Its function is to provide quantitative information, primary, primarily financial nature, about economic entities that is intended to be useful in making economic decisions.
Yung buong slide na.
Two, Committee on Accounting Terminology of the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. Accounting is the art of recording, classifying, and summarizing in a significant manner and in terms of money, transactions, and events which are in part at least of a financial character and interpreting the results thereof. 3. American Accounting Association. Accounting is the process of identifying, measuring, and communicating economic information to permit informed judgment and decision by users.
Ayan. So, dito, pinapakita yung iba't ibang definition ng Ayan. So, dito, pinapakita yung iba't ibang definition ng accounting. So, for number 1, according daw to ASC, accounting is a service activity. Kasi, straightforward, common sense, ang nire-render natin or pinaprovide natin sa mga client or customer natin is yung service natin. For example, for us accountant, by the preparation ng mga financial reports. Ano pa, kunwari, sa mga tax personnel, for the preparation ng income tax return, sa mga sa mga consultants, nagbibigay sila ng mga advisory services sa client nila. So, instead na products yung pinaprovide natin sa customer, service natin yung nire-render natin sa kanila. Next, sabi naman dito, according daw kay AICPA, accounting daw is the art of recording, classifying, and summarizing. So, etong recording, classifying, and summarizing, actually, pumapasok to sa communicating process ng accounting. When we say kasi recording, ito yung pag-journal entry natin, where we record debit entry, credit entry. Tapos, for classifying naman, ito yung pagsusort natin ng mga accounts into pinagsasama-sama natin yung mga similar accounts. Like for example, lahat ng assets magkakasama, lahat ng cash, lahat ng accounts receivable, lahat ng inventories. Ganon yung classifying. Then sa summarizing, ito na yung preparation talaga natin ng financial statements natin. Now, next, we have the definition daw from AAA. So, ito talaga yung definition na parang, um, ano ba yon? Ito talaga yung pinaka-precise na definition for accounting. So, sabi dito, accounting daw is the process of identifying, measuring, and communicating. So, ito yung mga important aspects or components ng accounting process. So, let's discuss further etong tatlong aspects na to. Kay any of you guys, kung nakapag-advance reading kayo, what do you mean ba by identifying? Ano ba yung ginagawa natin sa identifying na process or component na to? Meron ba sa inyong may idea? Kahit guess lang? Mukhang wala. O sige, ako na lang mag-explain. So, Identifying means analytical component. So, ito yung analytical component ng accounting process. Dito kasi sa process na to, we analyze whether the transaction will be recognized or not sa libro natin. When we say recognize, kung i-record ba natin to sa libro natin or hindi. Kasi, hindi lahat ng transactions na nangyayari sa isang entity is qualified to be recorded sa libro or sa books. So, guys, how can we know ba that a specific transaction will be recognized sa book? So, para mag-qualify yung isang transaction na ma-record o ma-recognize sa book, it must be classified as an accountable events. So, itong mga accountable events na to, it is classified into three. First, we have the exchange transactions. When we say exchange transaction, dito yung parang may reciprocal. Yung isa nagbigay, yung isa nakatanggap, vice versa. Giving and receiving. May reciprocal giving and receiving of economic benefits. Ano yung mga example nito? For example, pag nagbenta si company, in exchange dun sa product na binenta niya sa customer niya, si customer magbabayad ng consideration or payment. Diba? In exchange ng product, may natanggap si company na payment. So, ganun lang naman yung exchange transactions. So, ganun din sa purchase. Diba kanya-kanyang POB lang yan. Pag si seller, POB niya, siya yung magbebenta. Pag si purchaser, ang POB niya, siya yung bumibili. Next, we have the non-reciprocal transfer. Pag isabi natin non-reciprocal transfer, hindi to walang mutual giving and receiving. So, kumbaga, one-way transaction, one-sided lang. So, ano yung example nito? For example, sa donation. 'Di ba sa donation, kunyari ako, pinamanahan ako ng magulang ko ng lupa. Wala akong bibigay in exchange of that consideration. Kasi yung donation, out of gratuity lang. Walang ine-expect yung magulang ko nakapalit dun sa binigay nilang lupa sa akin. So, yun yung example ng non-reciprocal na transfer. Next, we also have external event other than transfer. Ano yon? Dito naman yung event na change niya yung economic resources or obligation ng isang entity caused by an external party, third party, meaning hindi yung mismong entity, or an event that does not involve a transfer of resources or fulfillment of an obligation. So, ano example nito? Para mas madaling intindihin, we have the changes in fair value ng mga asset measured at fair value. So, i-discuss natin to further sa mga next chapters natin. Next, we have the obsolescence. Dito, ano ba example nito sa inventory? Specifically, yung mga gadgets. Di ba mapapansin nyo sa market, ang bilis maglabas ng mga bagong model or mga bagong version ng mga gadgets. So, ang nangyayari, mabilis ding bumaba yung mga earlier na in-introduce sa market. Yun yung obsolescence. Parang bumababa yung value ng isang bagay kasi may mga bagong model na ini-introduce sa public or sa market. Next, you have the internal events. So, pag sinabi natin internal events, inside the entity lang siya nagaganap. Like, kunwari, casualty due to typhoon, landslide, earthquake, or kaya theft, o kaya naman may mga problems or challenges na na-encounter sa production causing a loss to the entity. So, yun yung mga sample ng mga accountable events. Next, we also have yung mga non-accountable events. So, etong mga non-accountable events na to, hindi natin to nire-recognize sa libro natin. Kasi, itong mga non-accountable events na to, kung mapapansin nyo, isa sa characteristic nila is parang hindi sila quantifiable. Parang ang hirap-hirap mag-assign ng value pertaining to the transaction. For example, namatay yung owner ng company. Di ba parang yung buhay, hindi naman siya mame-measure or di mo naman siya ma-assign na ng specific na value. Ano pa, hiring ng employees. O kaya yung pag-enter sa contract ng company. You can't assign value naman kasi to those events. Ito yung mga sociological and psychological events beyond na siya ng province ng accounting. Next, we have the measuring process ng accounting. So, sa Philippines, syempre, ang common measurement naman na nilalagay natin or ina-assign natin is peso. Pero, take note na hindi porket, kunwari, ang entity, located yung business niya or operating siya sa Philippines, peso sign na dapat yung functional currency niya. Kasi guys, for example ako, meron na ako na audit na ang functional currency nila is dollars. Kasi parang yung mga main customers nila, mga foreign country. Tapos, yun ding mga products na binebenta nila or pinipurchase nila, ini-import lang din nila sa um, other country or foreign country. So,
Ma'am,
regardless, yes.
ma'am, hindi po yata nalilipat yung slide.
Ay, oo, hindi pa naman tayo next slide. Kaya,
Sige po.
sige, okay lang. Ano, take note nyo na lang, hindi ko kasi siya nilagay mismo sa slide. Para kasing definition lang siya nung tatlong aspects. Yan guys, take note nyo na lang. Um, so, saan na ba tayo? Ayun. So, regardless kung nasan yung pinaka principal office ng isang company, ang pinaka-basis pa rin kung ano yung currency na yung functional currency kung saan, paano niya ipepresent yung interest niya is depende pa rin sa main operation ni company. Pero mostly naman sa Philippines, peso talaga. So, measuring process, ito yung technical component. So, sa measuring process, dito natin dinedetermine ano yung monetary amounts assigned sa mga ni-recognize or generalize natin na mga events or transaction. So sabi ko nga kanina, the Philippine peso is the unit of measuring accountable economic transactions generally dito sa Philippines. So, yung measurement bases natin guys, they are classified into two. So take note nyo to. We have the historical cost which is the common measurement ng financial transaction. Then we have current value. So yung current value na to, it is further classified into fair value, value in use, fulfillment value, and current cost. Again, let me repeat. Yung current value, it is further classified into fair value, value in use, fulfillment value, and current cost. Which is itong mga measurement basis na to, i-discuss pa natin further sa mga susunod na chapters. And lastly, we have the communicating component. So makikita nyo dito sa slide natin, dito na yung preparation ng financial statements and other financial reports. So itong communicating aspect na to or component na to, it is the formal component ng accounting process. Ito na yung part where accountants prepare and distribute accounting reports. So, sabi ko nga kanina, sa communicating process, dito pumapasok yung recording, yung pag-journalize. Classifying, kung saan account papasok yung isang um, um, transaction. Ito yung posting to the ledger or general ledger. And then we have the summarizing or the preparation ng financial statement itself. So, financial statement, just to give you an hint or an idea, meron siyang different components. We have the statement of financial position or balance sheet. We have the statement of comprehensive income. So, yung statement of comprehensive income, it is composed of the income statement and other comprehensive income. Next, we have this statement of cash flows and statement of changes in equity. And lastly, we have the notes to financial statements. So, itong notes to financial statements, dito presented yung mga additional information na not qualified to be presented sa page ng FS. When we say page of the FS, ito yung SFP, SCI, SCF, and SOSE, yung sinabi ko kanina. Next, we have the overall objective of accounting. So, sino gusto magbasa? Please raise your hand. Si Micaela.
Overall objective. The overall objective of accounting is to provide quantitative financial information about a business that is useful to earners and creditors in making economic. The accountancy law. RA 92 the law.
Excuse me, Micaela, sorry to cut you. Can I confirm sa akin lang ba hindi audible si Micaela? O sa inyo rin?
Hello.
Audible ba siya? Can
Hindi
some...
po.
Ayun. Micaela,
Hello.
hindi audible eh. Can I...
Hello.
Try mo nga ulit?
Hello.
Sige. Medyo mahina.
Hello.
Try mo ulit magbasa.
Overall objectives of accounting. The overall
Ay,
Okay na po.
yes, okay na. Thank you.
Overall objectives of accounting. The overall objectives of accounting is provide quantitative financial information about a business that is useful to statements users, particularly owners and creditors in making economic decisions. The accountancy law. RA 9298 is a law regulating the practice of accountancy in the Philippines. The law is known as Philippine Accountancy Act of 2004. Objectives. RA 9298 shall provide for and govern. A. The standardization and regulation of accounting education. B. The examination for registration of CPA, and C. The supervision, control, and regulation of the practice of accountancy in the Philippines.
Okay, thank you, Micaela. So, eto guys, need nyo tong tandaan to cover all objective of accounting. So, ang pinaka-essence naman talaga ng accounting is to help users in making economic decision. Simply stated, decision usefulness. So, guys, do you have any idea kung sino ba yung mga users ng FS na tinutukoy ko? You can raise your hand. Okay, John?
Government.
Okay. Ano importance sa government nung accounting or nung FS? Do you have any idea dyan? Okay, sige ako na lang. So um, si government hindi siya kino-consider as primary user. I think ano lang siya, secondary user. Pero ang essence ng FS sa government is for regulatory purposes. For example, si BIR and si SEC. BIR is Bureau of Internal Revenue and SEC or SEC is Securities of Exchange and Commission. So they require certain or specific companies na magpasa sa kanila ng audited financial statement. So for BIR, for tax computation. And SEC naman, kasi yung SEC sila yung nagsusupervise ng mga corporations and partnerships, di ba? So, bukod sa government, sino pa yung may other idea kung sino pa yung mga users ng FS? Meron pa ba? Okay, sige, si John ulit.
Investors po.
Ayun. So, investors. So, si investors and creditors are example ng primary users ng FS. So, bakit? So, for investors, important sa kanila yung FS for them to assess yung profitability ni entity. Kung how much yung return or return on investment, ROI, na makukuha nila from their investment. While si creditor naman, need nila yung FS to assess yung liquidity and solvency ni entity. When we say liquidity, ito yung capability ni company to pay short-term obligation. While solvency naman, it is yung capability ni company to pay long-term obligation. So, itong liquidity and solvency can be assessed through analyzing yung SFP or yung balance sheet. While yung profitability normally sa statement of comprehensive income. So, the accountancy law. So, it is important for us dahil ito yung course na kinuha natin na maging familiarize tayo sa RA 9298. So, itong RA 9298 supersedes na yung Presidential Decree 692, otherwise known as Revised Accountancy Law. So, effectivity nito is May 13, 2004, and it has a prospective application. When we say prospective application, it affects the current and future periods, meaning any former law before May 13, 2004, hindi niya maapektuhan nung any revision sa Accountancy Act. So, etong objectives ni RA 9298, kung mapapansin nyo, mula pa lang pagpasok ng isang bata sa accountancy world, like di ba ito, standardization and regulation of accounting education, ito yung true curriculum. And then, hanggang sa pag-practice niya na ng profession, ito yung supervision, control, and regularization of the practice of accountancy in the Philippines, sinusupervise or ginogovern siya ng RA 9298. So, the examination for registration of CPAs, ito yung board exam na ginaganap siya twice a year during May and October. Then, tong supervision, control, and regularization, including din dito yung continuing professional development, where nire-require tayo ng RA 9298 na after ng isang accountant na makapasa ng licensure examination, she needs to undergo sa mga trainings and seminar to earn CPD units for him or her na i-renew yung license niya o kaya kung gusto niya mag-apply for accreditation. Next, we have the Professional Regulatory Board of Accountancy or PRBOA. It is the body authorized by law to promulgate the rules and regulation governing the accountancy profession. They are also responsible in preparing and grading the Philippines CPA examination or CPALE or LECPA. So, composition, a chairman and 7 members to be appointed by the President of the Philippines. A vice chairman shall be elected from among its members for a term of 1 year. So, currently, ang chairman ng BOA is si Chairman Noe Quinianola. So, I have the privilege then to meet him in person nung nag-oath taking ako. So, mabait si Sir Noe. Kasi, parang I remember, nung nag-oath taking kami, or before the oath taking, meron kaming queries. So, di namin alam yung pagtatanungan. So, siya yung pini-M namin through messenger lang. And nagulat kami, nag-respond siya, nag-reply naman siya sa mga messages namin. So, share ko lang yun, guys. So, dito, di ba sabi, we have 8 members, including yung chairman. So, paano ba yung pagsiselect nung mga members ng BOA? So, initially, si APO or yung Accredited Professional Organization, magbibigay sila ng 5 nominees. So, take note nyo to guys. Si APO, magbibigay siya ng 5 nominees. Tas from that, pipili si PRE, si Professional Regulatory Commission ng 3 recommendees. Then, ipapasa niya to kay President, then si President mamimili siya ng 1 appointee. So, ulitin ko, si Apo, magbibigay siya ng 5 nominees. Then, from there, or from that, si PRC, pipili siya ng 3 recommendees. And then, si President, sa 3 recommendees na yon, pipili siya ng 3 appointee. So, ano ba yung mga qualifications ng members? So, a member of the board shall, at the time of his or her appointment, possess the following qualifications. Must be a natural-born citizen. When we say natural-born citizen, either yung mother or father niya ay Pilipino or both. And, guys, take note, it must be N, meaning these two criteria must be met before a person can be qualified. So, resident siya ng Philippines, means residing siya dito sa Pilipinas. Natural-born citizen and resident. Next, must be a duly registered CPA, means dapat nakapasa na siya ng board exam with at least, meaning minimum 10 years of work experience in any scope of practice of accountancy. Any scope meaning it can be private, public, academic, or government. And next, it must be of good moral character and must not have been convicted of crimes. So, inote nyo guys na ang sabi dito, convicted. Pag sinabi natin convicted, may final judgment na. So, pag excuse, qualified pa siya to be appointed. So, with regards dito sa requirement C, kahit nga sa board exam pa lang nung nag-register kami for board examination, pinagpasa na din kami ng NBI clearance to prove na wala kaming pending case or di kami convicted or associated to any crime. Next, letter D, must not have any pecuniary interest directly or indirectly in any school, college, university, or institution conferring an academic degree necessary for admission to the practice of accountancy or where review classes in preparation for the licensure examination are being offered or conducted, nor shall he or she be a member of the faculty or administration thereof at the time of his appointment to the board. So dito, to avoid lang din conflict of interest or kasi pag member ka ng board, ikaw din naman kasi nagpre-prepare ng examination, so may possibility na if connected ka sa any school, university, or review school, pwedeng malik yung mga question. So, for confidentiality to ng examination. And letter E, must not be a director or officer of the APO at the time of his appointment. Kasi guys, yung APO, it is the support system ng BOA. So, hindi siya talaga pwedeng maging director or officer. So, may choice tong si appointee na umalis as a director or officer ng APO to be appointed as a member ng BOA. So, term of office, the chairman and members of the board shall hold office for a term of 3 years. No person who has served 2 successive complete terms or 6 years shall be eligible for reappointment until the lapse of 1 year. Meaning, may cooling period na 1 year. So, kunwari, naka 2 complete terms ka na or 6 year, kailangan mo magpahinga ng 1 year bago ka ma-reappoint ulit sa pagiging member. Pero ang maximum service niya lang is 12 years, meaning 4 complete terms. Guys, Shula, pwede favor, can you take a screenshot or snip nitong discussion natin or meet natin right now for documentation purposes lang. Thank you. Okay, next, the accountancy fields. Who wants to read? Alicia?
The accountancy fields under RA 9298, the practice of accountancy is subclassified into four sectors. Number one is practice in public accountancy. Involves rendering of accounting and auditing services to one or more client on a fee basis. Limitations: CPA Certificate of Accreditation requires 3 years meaningful experience. CPD requirements: no corporation must be formed to be registered for the practice of public accountancy. Number two, practice in commerce and industry, also known as private accounting. This refers to employment in the private sector in a position which involves decision making requiring professional knowledge in the science of accounting. The highest accounting officer in a business entity is the controller. Number three, practice in education or academe. Employment in an education institution which involves teaching of accounting, auditing, math, law, taxation, finance, and other related subjects.
Okay, thank you for that. So, sabi ko nga kanina, we have four sectors or fields for accountancy. We have the public, we have the private, the academe, and the government. So, sa public accounting, usually dito yung external auditing. When we say external auditing, client service provider relationship. So, for example, ako, ang ina-audit namin is hindi yung mismo company na pinapasukan ko, but yung different clients. So, sa auditing, yung ina-examine mo is yung FS na gawa ng accountant para makapag-express ng yung auditor ng opinion if fairly presented siya. Ito yung tinatawag na attest function ng CPA. Kasi need din yung audited financial statements na ipasa sa SEC and sa BIR. So, sabi dito guys, di ba, limitations niya is CPA. Pero meron naman akong mga katrabaho na auditors na hindi pa naman sila CPA. So, siguro it depends pa rin sa policy ng company. Next, we also have taxation, yung mga taxing personnel, including din sila sa practice ng public accountancy. So, they help their clients in preparing yung income tax return, and they also give advices sa clients nila on how can they minimize yung tax liability nila. So guys, kasi sa tax, we have tax minimization and tax evasion. When we say minimization, ito yung legal means para mapababa yung tax liability ng isang tao or ng isang entity. While tax evasion, ito yung mga illegal means para mabawasan or matakasan mo yung tax liability mo. So, yung minimization, allowed siya. Yung evasion, hindi. Then lastly, we also have management advisory service na ina-offer din sa public accountancy. So, ito, wala naman itong precise coverage since malawak siya. Basta it covers services relating to accounting, finance, business policies, organizational procedures, product costing, and budgeting. So, yung sinabi ko, it's not exclusive naman, it's not all-inclusive. So, meron pang other services na ina-offer yung advisory. Next, you have the private accounting or yung practice in commerce and industry. Dito naman yung employer-employee relationship. So, dito, for this, yung supervisory level, nire-require siya na maging occupied ng isang CPA. When the entity has a revenue of at least 10 million or paid up capital ng at least 5 million. When we say paid up capital, share capital. So, pag si entity pala, yung revenue niya at least 10 million and or yung paid up capital niya or share capital niya is at least 5 million, kailangan yung supervisory level niya is occupied ng isang CPA. Note din guys na yung highest accounting officer sa isang private accounting is yung controller. Next, we have the education or academe. So, basta naman nagtuturo siya ng any subject na mako-cover sa board exam. Tapos, eto guys, additional information. Kunyari, yung college exclusive siya, meaning college of accountancy lang. Dapat yung din doon, nire-require siya na maging CPA. Pag naman yung accountancy, meron pa siyang kasamang other business courses, kunyari, College of Business Administration, dapat yung department head or yung program director, nire-require siya na maging CPA. So, ako guys, currently, I belong sa public accountancy and sa education or academe as an external auditor and a part-time instructor. Next, who wants to read? Si Sophia.
Practice in the government. Employment or appointment to a position in an accounting professional group in the government or GOCC which involves decision making requiring professional knowledge in the science of accounting or where civil service eligibility as a CPA is a prerequisite. Continuing Professional Development or CPD. RA number 10912 is the law mandating and strengthening the CPD program for all regulated professions, including the accountancy profession. CPD refers to the inculcation and acquisition of advanced knowledge and skills, proficiency, and ethical and moral values after the initial registration of the CPA for assimilation into professional practice and lifelong learning.
Okay, thank you, Sophia. So, dito sa practicing na government, kunyari, employed ka or nagtatrabaho ka sa BIR, Bureau of Internal Revenue, COA, Commission on Audit, DBM, Department of Budget and Management, SEC, SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, BSP, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. So, generally speaking, practicing under numbers 2 to 4 or yung private accounting, academe, and government, sila tinatawag na private practice. So, yung public practice, yun lang yung sa may public accounting. So, the CPD, yung CPD na to was promulgated by DPR BOA or the BOA. Subject siya sa approval ng PRC. In short, CPD maintains and enhances the technical skill and competence ng CPA. Kasi, sa dami na ng changes natin sa industry natin, sa economy natin, so kailangan din namang makisabay tayo. So, itong naman kasing CPD na to, it's not only required sa mga accountant. Required din siya sa other licensed na profession. So, by the way, yung CPD credit units, it's referred to the CPD credit hour. So, parang kayo sa college, di ba, kunwari, pag 3 units, equivalent siya sa 3 hours. So, ganito lang din ganun lang din yung concept ng CPD. So, itong CPD na to is required nga siya for renewal ng license and accreditation. So, ano ba yung accreditation? So, di ba siguro familiar na kayo, naririnig nyo na, ay, pag accountant yan or CPA yan, pipirma lang yan, kikita na yan. So, pag accredited ka na, doon ka lang pwedeng pumirma sa FS guys, na yung opinion, parang pinapresent niya na ikaw yung nag-state ng opinion, tapos pipirma ka sa FS ng isang company. Magagawa mo lang yon kapag accredited ka na. So, if newly licensed CPA ka, exempted ka sa first renewal cycle. Then sa susunod, need mo na ng 15, maka-earn ng 15 credit units para makapag-renew. Pag naman accreditation, kailangan mo ng at least 120 credit units. O guys, take note nyo yon. For renewal, 15 credit units. Pero pag first renewal cycle mo, exempted ka pa. For accreditation naman, at least 120 credit units starting 2019. So yung cycle natin guys, it covers 3-year period. So, take note guys na ang isang CPA shall be permanently exempted sa CPD requirements kapag na-reach niya na yung age na 65 years old. Pero yung exemption na to, applicable lang siya for renewal and not for accreditation. Next, you have the accounting. Accounting versus auditing, accounting versus bookkeeping, and accounting versus accountancy. So, ang accounting kasi guys is constructive, while auditing naman is more on analytical. Yung work kasi ng audit, mag-i-start siya once done na si accountant sa financial or preparation ng financial statements. So, bali si auditor, nire-review niya lang yung gawa ni accountant kung fairly presented ba yung FS. So, just to give you guys ng parang background, kung initially guys, ang ginagawa namin sa auditing, nag-a-analyze kami. Talaga namang auditing is more on analyzing. Una-una naming nire-request kay client is to provide us yung current trial balance nila. Tapos yung current trial balance nila, yung mga amounts doon for line item, kino-compare namin sa balance niya ng prior period. Tapos from there, titignan namin kung alin yung mga accounts na may significant movement. Tapos tong mga significant movement na to na accounts, ina-assess namin, further assess namin kung do we need to test it. Kasi hindi naman kasi parang efficient kung ite-test mo lahat ng accounts sa audit, parang hindi ka naman matatapos agad doon. Kasi may specific budget din ng time for specific engagement. So yon, ina-assess namin kung pwede siyang i-test. Yung assessment namin kung need siyang i-test is based on materiality. So yung materiality naman guys is a case-to-case basis. May materiality na pumapasok sa concept ng accounting, may materiality din na pumapasok sa concept ng auditing, and sabi ko nga case-to-case basis, depende sa policy ng company. Next, we have the bookkeeping. Yung bookkeeping guys, procedural kasi to, in a way na nakapokus siya sa maintenance ng record or record keeping. Then yung accountancy, technically, it refers sa profession, yung profession natin. Then yung accounting, ito yung mga field or sector, like yung public, private, government, and academe. Next, we have the financial accounting versus managerial accounting. When we say financial accounting, it refers sa recording ng business transaction and preparation ng financial statements, both for internal and external users. While yung management accounting, it is specifically done for internal users only or for management. Kasi guys, ang mga management, meron silang specific needs. Kasi ang FS kasi, they are prepared to address common needs. So, etong managerial accounting or yung mga reports na generate natin for managerial accounting, it is, yung essence niya or objective niya is to cater yung specific needs ni manager. For example, for forecasting, for budgeting. Next, we have the pre-phase 2 PFRS or the Philippine Financial Reporting Standards. Who wants to read? Si Riza.
What are IFRS or PFRS or GAAP? Are the laws in accounting used as a guide in the preparation of financial statements? PFRS are guiding principles rather than law. PFRS sets out recognition, measurement, presentation, and disclosure requirements dealing with transactions and events that are important in general purpose FS. Letter B. Scope of PFRS. PFRS apply to all profit-oriented entities preparing general purpose financial statements. These FS are directed towards the common information needs of a wide range of users. Letter C. Structure of PFRS. Standard approved by the FRSC include paragraphs in bold type and plain type, which have equal authority. Paragraph in bold type indicate the main principle while paragraphs in plain type indicate supporting principles.
Okay, thank you, Riza. So, etong IFRS, PFRS, and GAAP na to, they are all standard. So, yung IFRS, pertains lang siya sa international standards. Tapos, inadapt natin siya dito sa Philippines, kaya tinawag natin na PFRS. So, pinalitan lang natin yung I ng P. So, sabi dito, yung PFRS daw are principle-based rather than rule-based. So, dito sa PFRS or sa standard na to, nakaset out yung recognition. Sinasabi sa standard kung when ba natin i-recognize yung isang transaction or events. Then yung measurement, is it measured by using historical cost or current value? Then yung presentation and disclosure. So, guys, note sa standard, meron tayong standard pertaining sa isang specific account. Kunwari, sa inventory, we have the may specific standard tayo for inventory. For property, plant, and equipment, meron din for intangible assets. So, merong specific standard for a specific account. So, ano daw ba yung scope ng PFRS? So, sabi dito, it applies to all profit-oriented entities. So, does it mean na pag non-profit, hindi pwedeng gamitin yung PFRS? No. So, kahit yung mga non-profit-oriented entities like churches, charities, and other non-profit organizations or NPO, meron sariling standard specific to them na makikita sa PFRS. So sabi nga dito, ang PFRS, applicable sila sa general purpose FS, meaning it caters common needs and not specific needs. So, any limitation sa scope ng PFRS is made clear in the standard, meaning kung ano yung nasa standard yun na yun, hindi tayo pwedeng mag-assume na ito yung minimin niya. Kung ano lang yung explicitly stated sa standard. So for standard setting bodies, so the current standard setting body in the Philippines is the Financial and Sustainability Reporting Standards Council of or FSRSC. So previously, FRSC lang siya, wala yung and sustainability. So while the current standard setting body internationally is the International Accounting Standards Board or IASB. So, FRSC is the successor of the Accounting Standards Council, meaning ASC muna siya, tas naging FRSC, tas naging FSRSC. Take note nyo yun guys ha. So, ito namang IASB, ni-replace na yung IASC. When we say IASC, International Accounting Standards Committee. So, pinalitan lang yung committee, naging board. So, IASB publishes standards in a series of pronouncement called IFRS o yung counterpart ng PFRS sa Philippines. The IASB standard setting process includes the correct order of research, discussion paper, exposure draft, and accounting standard. So, yung sinabi ko na yun, ito yung flow or step-by-step process kung paano nai-issue or nagagawa ang isang standard. So yung FSRSC is created by BOA in the year 2006, while IASB is created by IFRS Foundation. So ito guys, yung pronouncement created by FRSC, sabi nga natin is PFRS. Yung ASC naman, PAS. Does it mean guys na yung PFRS natin ngayon, kinocompose lang siya huli ng PFRS? No guys. Actually, ang PFRS natin ngayon is composed of PFRS, PAS or PAS, and Philippine Interpretations. Kasi guys, tong PAS na to, meron kasing PAS na walang amendment or revision. So, kineli forward lang din siya sa PFRS. When we say naman Philippine Interpretations, meron kasing mga standards na parang big or parang walang clear cut. So, doon, parang yung Philippine Interpretations yung nagiging guidance to resolve any vagueness or kung ano may nagiging malabo dun sa specific standard na yon. So, yung FRSC was created by BOA, ASC was created by PICPA. Then, composition niya sa FRSC, we have 16 members, chairman, and 15 members. Sa ASC naman, we have 8 members, including na yung chairman. So, FRSC is composed of 1 member from COA, 1 member from BOA, 1 member from SEC, 1 member from BSP, 1 member from BIR, 1 member from Insurance Commission, and 1 member from PINEX, and 8 members from PICPA or APO, 2 per sector, meaning 2 members from private, 2 members each from private, public, government, and academe. While sa ASC naman, 1 member from BOA, SEC, BSP, and FINEX, and then 4 member from PICPA. 1 member each sector. 1 member sa public, sa private, sa government, and sa academe. Next, who wants to read? Nika.
The pronouncement of FSRSC are called PFRS, collectively known as PFRS, corresponding to IFRS. Letter B, PAS, corresponding to IAS. Letter C, Philippine Interpretations, corresponding to the interpretation issued by IFRIC and SIC of IASC, and interpretation issued by PIC. FSRSC's appointment and term of office. The chairman and all the members of FSRSC are appointed by PFRS upon recommendation of BOA in coordination with APO, with a term of 3 years and are renewable for another term. Any member of ASC is not disqualified from being appointed to FRSC. FRSC members are required to render a service to the Council on a part-time basis without compensation. The chairman should be senior practitioner in any scope of accounting practice.
Okay, thank you, Nika. So, gaya nga ng sabi ko kanina, yung PFRS, kinocompose siya ng PFRS, PAS, and Philippine Interpretation. So, PFRS correspond to IFRS, PAS corresponds to IAS, and Philippine Interpretations corresponding to the interpretations issued by IPRIC and SIC of IASC, and interpretation issued by PIC or PIC. So, SIC stands for Standing Interpretations Committee, while PIC or PIC stands for Philippine Interpretations Committee. So, itong interpretations na to are issued to give guidance on issues that are likely to receive divergent and or unacceptable treatment in the absence of the guidance or kung meron mang vagueness sa guidance. PIC was created by FSRSC. So sabi dito, the chairman and all the members of the FSRSC are appointed by the PRC upon recommendation ng BOA in coordination with APO or PICPA with a term of 3 years and are renewable for another term. Any member of ASC is not disqualified from being a member of FSRSC. FSRSC members are required to render a service to the council on a part-time basis guys, without compensation. The chairman should be senior practitioner in any scope of accounting practice. So, the standard setting process or due process. So, step 1, consideration of pronouncement of the IASB. Step 2, formation of a task force when deemed necessary to give advice to FSRSC. Step 3, issuing for comment and exposure draft approved by the majority of the FSRSC members. Comment period will be at least 60 days unless a shorter period not less than 30 days is considered appropriate by FSRSC in certain circumstances or urgent concerns. Step 4, consideration of all comments received within the comment period and when appropriate, preparing a comment letter to the IASB. And last step, step 5, approval of a standard or an interpretation by a majority of the FSRSC members. So sabi nga dito guys, the PFRS are developed through a due process that involves accountants and various interested parties and individuals. So dito sa due process na to, parang binibigyan lang yung opportunity yung every member or interested parties to give their comment or opinion. So itong step 1 to step 5 na to will be the step-by-step process or flow kung paano nabubuo or nai-issue ang isang standard. So, hindi lang siya simple process, nasasala siya guys. So, hindi porket may naisip na standard yung isang party, i-issue na yun agad. So, meron pa rin mga bigayan ng comments, ganun, para mas ma-refine yung said or proposed standard. So, that's all lang naman guys. May I ask if you have any questions or clarifications? If none, you can react. Okay. Thank you. So, kung ngayon wala kayong questions, pero later, makaisip kayo ng pwede nyong itanong or clarifications, feel free to message me kahit private message. Sendan nyo ako guys. So, I won't check naman yung attendance nyo kasi nga, sabi ko nga, ako naman yung nagpa-reschedule ng meeting natin. So, magiging unfair lang sa iba na hindi naka-attend. So, sa mga naka-attend, thank you so much. Na-appreciate ko talaga yung pag-attend nyo. So, Shula, favor naman, can you share, kung sino yung nag-record, please share it sa class. Then, please share it din sa Visais 2A. And then, kung sino man yung nakapag-take ng screenshot or snip ng discussion, please send it to me or sa GC natin. Yun lang guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
po.